Okay, boys, welcome back to another weekly review. We're going to cover the two trades that I took last week, all the lessons that we can learn from it, and we're going to include the charts as well. As you might have noticed, I'm missing something off the top of my head. Yes, I just completely buzzed my hair on Friday because I felt like it. I might have gone a bit too short, but it is what it is, it'll grow back. So we're missing some hair this video, but I guess that just means it's time to go monk mode until it grows back out again. Let me know what you think about the haircut in the comments. Let's get right into the video. Okay, boys, so starting on the weekly, this was my analysis, all right? Quite simply, I anticipated price to want to draw down to this low right here. We were clearly very bearish, and on the weekly, we had taken out this high over here, and we had a clear displacement back inside the range. And so my target, especially after closing below this low right here, after closing strong below this low right here, my next target was this low here on the weekly. With that in mind, on the daily, I was expecting that draw on liquidity to the downside, and so price ran up into this fair value gap right here, taking out the previous day high. So Friday, we ran up into this fair value gap, and we had this clear wick lower. So that suggests to me that we're going to want to kind of target this low right here and this low over here. So coming into Monday's session, this is what the charts were looking like. My draw on liquidity was down here. We had this clear low resistance liquidity right here that I expected price might want to push down into. So essentially what I was then looking for on the lower time frames, I wanted to see a sweep of Asia highs here, and then I wanted to see something like some displacement, fair value gap, and then target the lows right here. Something like that, just to manipulate the Asia high and then run for these lows, right? Because we were keying off that daily fair value gap here. And so to me, price wanted to push lower. We had that clear displacement here. And so I was expecting a continuation of Friday's move on Monday. So here's the 15 minutes. I was simply just expecting a run of this key high, which we eventually did get. But this is where I made the wrong decision, because rather than waiting for a clear displacement and market structure shift, I carried over those negative emotions from the previous week, and I essentially was feeling FOMO. I didn't want to miss out on this trade if it was a trade, and I jumped in way too early before we had any valid market structure shift. So I would have wanted to have seen this low right here get broken, because that's a clear swing point for me. So dropping down onto the 5 minutes here, I was expecting to see this low get taken. I had an alert set at this level, so when we saw price kind of break below this, I would have looked to enter in a fair value gap up here, and then would have rode it short down towards this low and this low down here as well. So essentially this was the outcome of the trade, right? So I never waited for this low to get ran, which is where I have my alerts set. And the ideal scenario would have been had I just waited for my alerts, but obviously I was in the wrong headspace and I broke my rules by not just waiting for my alerts. And I came onto the charts, and what I saw this low right here get broken with what seemed to me at the time to be displacement, right? And we left this super clean little fair value gap right here. This little fair value gap right here was where I had my entry, and my stop loss was above the high, and I was targeting this swing low all the way down here because Asia low did not provide enough RR for me, and so I targeted this low down here for a 1 to 3. And the mistake was that I saw this displacement and fair value gap, and I saw these candles here forming very wicky candles, and so I was thinking price is going to run without me, and I got FOMO and I got scared, and I thought if I don't get in now I might miss my entry, which was pure FOMO, and we didn't even break the structure I was initially looking at. Had we broken this and I took that fair value gap, then it would have been completely fine as a loss. I would have just taken it on the chin. But I didn't wait for the structure that I was expecting to be broken. And so that was obviously not the market tipping its hand to me that we were going lower. And I got FOMO and jumped in way too early, and obviously immediately lost that trade, as you can see. And by the way, I was in the trade here. I was down about $20, and I was saying to myself, I know I shouldn't have got in there. And I knew it. I knew I shouldn't have got in there. And I was saying, right, when we get back to break even, I'm going to close out the trade. Or when we get back to like a small loss, I'm going to close it out. As you can see, price essentially ran straight to stop loss. So I didn't even get the chance to go to close out at break even. And also I have a rule that once you're in a trade, you have to eat the loss regardless of whether it's a bad or good trade, because it's just a rule that I have to suffer the consequences of whatever decision I make, so that down the line I'm not going to make the same mistake again. It's definitely a stupid rule, because if I had just closed out here, I would have saved myself from the loss. And had it win, then it would have not been so good either, because I would have reinforced a negative habit by a winning trade, even though it hadn't actually met my entry criteria. So that was the loser on Monday. Okay, so this was the second loss of the week. This was on Thursday on silver, and this loss was completely acceptable, and I don't mind having taken this loss. I'm using the screenshots instead because it'll be much easier for me to navigate. So essentially on the daily, we saw this key swing low get swept here on silver, and we had a clear rejection candle from this low and a break of structure above this high right here. This candle right here broke that structure. And so to me, that was a sign that I'm expecting to see price potentially pull back into this fair value gap and then key off that fair value gap and head higher towards these equal highs, which is also a weekly fair value gap. So on the 4 hour, you can see we've got a clear market maker buy model in the making. We've broken market structure here to the upside and here, and we've left behind this clear swing leg from this low to this high with a fair value gap in the center, an order block at the low, and essentially what I was expecting to see was price react from this fair value gap, push higher, and move towards these equal highs and this high here. As you can see, we swept the low right here inside of the fair value gap and pushed higher. And so this was a sign to me that we're ready to go long here. There's a high probability that we're going to push higher here and target these highs. So on the 1 hour, what I was expecting to see from the morning was price potentially run below Asia lows, and then we'll see price displace higher towards these highs up here. Especially after we had this clear liquidity sweep to the low and a break of structure of this high, I was expecting that price, we were going to likely see it push higher up here. So on the 15 minutes, as you can see, price came down below Asia. We had this clear consolidation. We had a manipulation of the lows of this consolidation, and then we had some clear displacement higher as well. Couple this with the idea that we're below the midpoint of, we're in discount of this range from this low to this high. We're in the discount of this range. And so I was expecting, yes, this is going to be the high likelihood we're going to see it move higher here towards these highs. So this is the 5 minutes, the time frame that I entered on. As you can see, that consolidation, manipulation, and then the likelihood is we would see a distribution higher, especially after taking Asia low being in discount of the range and all of the context on the higher time frame. I was actually really confident in this trade. I put my stop loss below these lows here. I typically would put it below this low, but it didn't offer enough risk to reward, and I wouldn't have wanted to be in the trade had we gone really below these lows either. So this honestly was like a super clean trade. We had a clear market structure with some clear displacement and a fair value gap. And so I was very confident and didn't hesitate to take this trade, targeting these highs up here. And as you can see, this is the post trade. And essentially what happened was we got the result I was expecting, but we ran the previous day low first. We had that smart money reversal down here. We swept the low, broke structure, pulled back into the range, push higher, retracement. And on Friday, as you can see, we essentially ran that Asia low and then displaced all the way to my initial target. So In my opinion, this was a completely valid trade. I obviously just got in too early. Price still wanted to run that previous day low here before pushing higher. And as you can see, this is also a market maker buyer model, a choppy one, but it is still a market maker buyer model. And I obviously just got in too early, and price wasn't quite ready to run to my take profit. Yeah, it ran the previous day low first, and then the next day we saw it push higher here. Essentially, that was it for last week. 2 trades, 2 losses. 1 loss should have been avoided. The second loss was completely fine, and I'm completely happy with it. And it definitely got under my skin that I was making mistakes that I didn't think I would make again. But obviously, I've got much better at not making those mistakes. And obviously, maybe they happen every once in a while when you lose your head, but 99% of the time, I don't make those mistakes anymore. So it definitely felt like a setback that I made some stupid mistakes that I would say that only beginner traders really make. All you can do is learn from them, journal them, and make sure you don't make the same mistakes again. And to kind of notice when you're kind of going off the rails a little bit, to make sure that you've got systems in place to prevent yourself from doing that, such as coming off the charts after a loss, or not coming on the charts if you're distracted, or noticing FOMO or greed or whatever fear, whatever emotion you're experiencing, noticing that ahead of time and stopping yourself from coming onto the charts purely to stop yourself from making stupid decisions and mistakes. So all you can do is learn from them. There's no point dwelling on making a stupid mistake. Learn from it, journal it, and put systems in place to prevent yourself from doing that again. So that's about it for this week. Today is Tuesday, and I did take a win yesterday, but we'll talk about that next week in next week's review. The moral of today's review is it's okay to make mistakes, especially mistakes you didn't think that you would make again, as long as you consistently learn from them and put systems in place to prevent yourself from making those mistakes again. We're human beings, we're not robots, we're going to experience emotions, we're going to experience ups and downs. It's not about being emotionless, it's about not allowing those emotions to influence your decision making, and if they are, having the self-control to withdraw yourself from the charts where you can just cause yourself damage. So as always, guys, if you enjoyed that video, obviously smash the like button, subscribe if you're a real one and you just want to improve your trading and actually do this long term, do this professionally, and just try and become the best at it as possible and master the skill of trading. And obviously join the Telegram as well. I just want to have a community of you guys on the Telegram that I can engage with, get advice from, share videos too early, just kind of build that tight-knit community. I want 10% of my YouTube subscribers to be in the Telegram. So if you want to hear more from me, you want to engage with me a bit more on a daily basis, just join the Telegram. The link will be in the description. And as always, guys, I appreciate you very much. On the road to 100,000 subscribers. We're halfway to 1,000. And I appreciate all the support you guys are showing me as well. All right, boys, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.